Hi Capstone students, it is June 4th and I'm just throwing this video up there quickly as I know many of you are going to be writing and submitting, and I will be looking at things on Sunday, but I just had some comments over some things that I've recently graded, okay? So I'm going to be just walking through a couple things in Blackboard. If you go to content and then resources, you are going to see the templates for action research and school improvement. Please remember that starting from the very first thing that you will submit, which is your introduction, that's the first piece of the capstone project that you submit. It needs to be inside of the template. So you're going to go ahead and click on the appropriate template. I'll just click on action research. And every time you submit, you're going to submit inside this template. So you're going to actually start building your project as you go. These are the headings in the table of contents for the action research. And so these are the ones that you'll have sections of. And right here, and then your review of literature, okay? So your introduction is going to go right here, okay? And then you're going to submit it. And then every time you add something, you're going to add it to that one template that you have, and you're going to submit it to me so I can see the entire project building. It helps me when I can go back to an introduction or a different piece of a review of literature as I'm reading, because I'm reading with you the entire way. And I really honestly feel like I know your projects, not as well as you, but I'm probably your second in command, maybe after your editor. So it's just important that I can always see the whole thing. Then you're adding to your reference page the entire time. So from the very first references that you use in your introduction, they will be here. And then all other references will be there as well. Okay, so it's just really, really important that that happens. So if you submit your introduction and it is not in the template, I will provide that reminder and then zero it and send it back to you, so that you can just drop it in and then resubmit. So that's really important. The other thing that I want to show you and make you aware of is not here. Let me go back. No, I must have skipped it. Okay, here it is. So the professional editor contact and the research assistant contact to help with statistics. Please remember that it could be necessary, and actually it will be necessary for everybody to have a reader. You don't necessarily have to hire Kim or Ashley or another professional editor. You can use someone in your life that you know, but you will need a reader. And it's my suggestion, if you're paying the person, let me know that early on, because I don't expect you to submit every piece to them. You can do the final before the final draft, but I will be commenting on the writing quality, so it's important for me to know that you do have somebody locked in. You're just gonna only submit to them as you get towards the end. That's totally fine, but if I don't know that, I'm gonna kind of harass you a little bit, and I don't want to do that if you already have a plan. The other thing that I want to remind you or show you is APA. So please do not forget that APA is APA 7, which is relatively new, and you may not have been held to its principles because many of our adjunct professors are not necessarily up to date on their APA. They're professionals in the field, and they're not scholars necessarily. So we totally get it. They're using APA as they generally learned it, depending on what version they learned. But the 7th edition has a lot of new stuff. So it's super important that you be checking that. If I notice something's not APA 7, I will point it out to you and send it back. And I'll be honest, I am not perfect at APA 7. And so there are times when I actually go back to APA 6 in my mind. That's what I used to write my dissertation. So we're not totally nitpicky, like ridiculous. We are about it being APA. But I just know that there are some new things in APA 7 that are actually easier, that will make things easier for you. So please make sure that you're taking a look here. Many of you have talked about having issues with finding sources. And I have had conversations with you about it. And please remember that you've gone through the literature review video and Write Online Guide. Most of you have already done that. It does give you kind of an idea of what types of sources you're going to have. And then you can use the library as a helpful tool. You also have the option of going straight to Dr. Grund. Greta Grund is one of the most amazing, thoughtful, caring people that I met at Northwestern. She is delightful, and it is really her passion to help our students find resources for their papers. So she works pretty closely with the undergrads who are on campus, but she also loves to work with graduate students. So you can see right here is her contact information. I had 2 students contact her this week and report back that she made such a huge difference in finding their resources for their annotated bibliographies. So if you are struggling, this is a great place to begin. If you have submitted your first half to me, if you submit it this week, and I notice that your sources are either not research studies or not really up to date, then I will remind you that you can utilize her. She is free, part of your tuition, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it working with her. She's fantastic. So continue to work on your assignments for this week. And looking ahead, we are here. So you are going to be working on your annotated bibliography. You submit it in 2 different parts. That gets you to 20 sources. You may have more sources than that. You probably will. You do not go back and add them to the annotated bibliography. If you need to search for different sources as you're writing, that's fine. You just add them to your resource page. This is just an opportunity for you to get really tight on how to read a study, how to walk through a study, and make sure that you are really, really understanding it and scholarly. That is the only way that you can use it in your literature review. If you aren't super familiar with the study, your literature review sounds like a research paper, and unfortunately that's not what we want, and I will ship it back. Also, looking ahead, you have your proposal draft right here. This is really, really important. This is a point where I'm going to see exactly what you're going to do for your project. You have to have an approved proposal to move forward, and you also cannot change your project without redoing your proposal. So please, please, please be aware of that. Those of you that are doing action research, please refer to the announcement that I sent out about your IRB. It is coming up, and you are going to have to submit for IRB approval. That is here. And we want that submitted within week 5 and week 6. If you are behind and you are doing action research, you absolutely have to submit within week 5 and week 6 that IRB application, because we only meet 1 time, maybe 2 times to approve those, and that is right during that time. So please, please, please let me know if you're struggling, because if we don't get you approved, you can't collect data, and then you are stuck. So super duper important, but only for those doing action research, which is at this point only 3 of you. And so it's not pertaining to everyone. All right, that's about it. Super glad to be working with you. I'm seeing really good work. People are staying definitely to the timeline. If you're not staying to the timeline, I've reached out to you and I know your situation. Remember that you can take vacation. This is your summer. I will be taking vacation in July, right here, and I will not have internet access on the ship, and so I'm going to not be doing anything during that time. And I think that's super duper important. And you can see, okay, all in here, the dates, because so much of this overlaps. There's action, research, and school improvement, right? So you may take a vacation, and if you don't submit something that week, I'm not going to harass you, but if it's several weeks, I will probably send you a sweet email with concern, because I will be worried about you. All right. Take care. Have an awesome weekend and a great week next week.